My goodness, it's been a minute since I've done a live video from sitting at the house, and I'm on the Woodland Park Underground YouTube because my dad with the phone YouTube is still in YouTube jail from live videos. I am home from day one of the Suzanne Morphew search. Um, I did a video in the car. I probably shouldn't have because after I did it, I was like, man, I hope I wasn't too negative. Um, I was tired. It's been a long day. There was a lot of people searching, a lot of good people, and that's the one thing that I don't want there to be. I'm already getting criticism because hey, Sammy, shh, shh. I'm about to let this dog in. Y'all chat amongst yourselves. Well, now y'all can see that I'm an amateur at this freaking thing. Um, Sorry about that. My dog, the freaking dog that I'm watching, came in and ripped my power cord out, and my battery was dead, so had to re-log in. Um, Let me think about what happened today and be more positive because I wasn't very positive when I drove away, and there's a number of reasons. One, I think that everyone today realized the daunting area, the task of a search to like pull off a search of this magnitude. Um, they tried to do it. They tried to do it in an effective manner, and I know that there's updates that are out there. I know Andy just did an update on a YouTube channel and talked about some stuff that they turned over to CBI. From from what I gathered today, it wasn't like it was anything huge, but it is what it is. You can. I'm not. I don't want to. I think my house is haunted. That is awesome. I don't want to take away from anything that they've said about any of it. So, um, golly, this is all going great. Y'all see that blinking in the back? I think my house is haunted for sure. For sure, my house is haunted. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I got dogs screaming. I got ghosts. I'm half tired. I probably shouldn't be doing this live video, but I am anyway. Um, I already kind of gave a breakdown of the areas they searched. The area that I spent most of my time at was the Dead Horse Gulch area, with a bunch of cool people, a bunch of people that have come from all over to search. I didn't know that the Dead Horse Gulch area was an area that was recommended by a psychic. Had I had known that, I felt there was an opportunity for me to walk hand in hand with Andy today, and I kind of stepped out of that opportunity. Stepped out of there because it was such a media circus, and I just was. I don't know if I was mad because I wasn't filming, or if I was mad because everyone else was filming, or if I was mad because to me it seemed more like a media circus than a search. um, there was all this boast and talk about this app, and I don't know. It, I couldn't find anyone that had the app working, and no one in um, the Devil's Gulch or the Dead Horse Gulch seemed to have the app working. And the people that I thought were kind of running things, people that were yelling and screaming and moving things and having people sign, they couldn't even get the app working because they called me and asked me to take a picture with the app. And I was like, I can't even get this app working. So I think there was some frustration around that because I think the idea of it is super genius. I just didn't see it wasn't working for the majority of the people. It may have worked for a few people, but a lot of us couldn't get the app to work. And that was frustrating because we knew we were trying to like grid search this little area and not just kind of willy-nilly a search. But uh, it's a big task, to be honest with you. It's a it's a it's a big task. It's a big search. It's a big search area. Now, um, I was not one of the searchers that had Barry walking around with the. I did not see Barry with the gun. I did not see Barry installing security cameras. I didn't see any of that. I can tell you that I saw a couple of people at a few different places. I know Barry was at his house this morning, according to the people who know what kind of car he drives, because I did see his truck there. It's like a F-250 or something. So his truck was at the house this morning. I'm sure he was around. Somebody put barricades up from the time I left my campsite, which was behind Barry's house. I went into the San Elizabeth National Forest that is literally right behind the Morphew property. The road goes right there. And so when I came down this morning, the road was not blocked. When I went back there this afternoon, it was blocked. But somebody had put a sign on there, thank you for searching for Suzanne Morphew, or thank you searchers. And so I can understand. I understand why Barry doesn't necessarily want people running around searching his property. Because let me tell you something. With all the great people that were there are people there that have said some really negative things about Barry Morphew. I interviewed a man today. He thought I should have known who he was, but that's neither beside the point. I didn't know who he was until after I heard his story. I was like, I vaguely remember hearing this story on social media. And it was the story of a guy who used to work for Barry Morphew. And this guy was there all the way from Indianapolis, and he gave a little bit. Well, he doesn't like Barry Morphew, and he's telling a story that isn't very kind of Barry. And so I can understand relatively why Barry Morphew wouldn't show up at a search party filled with a bunch of people from social media and a bunch of people who've come out of the woodwork who think Barry is guilty. On the flip side, if Nikki went missing, right? If Nikki, my wife, I'm talking about my wife now, if my wife went missing, and I knew I was innocent. Like I was an innocent person because I know I'm innocent. I know I haven't done anything. No matter what social media has said, no matter what the news has said, no matter what the police have said, if I know I'm innocent and they're having a search for my wife, I'm showing up. I'm showing up. I'm showing up to say, if this is our last resort, this is our last resort. And I felt like, I really felt like that the search is almost a symbolic search. And I know most people don't want to hear that. Most people don't want to hear me say that I don't think they're going to find anything of significance. It doesn't mean that the search isn't important. It doesn't mean that that what is happening in that area isn't important. It is important if for any reason to just continue to keep Suzanne Morphew's name in front of thousands of people. If for any other reason, it is important for that. And for the husband not to show up. And then quickly after that, the brother, so we got the husband and the brother who are completely on different sides. The brother is saying the husband's putting up cameras and hauling around a shotgun. The husband's saying they want to wring my neck for something I didn't do, and I don't know what to do. I'm scared, whatever. I don't know what his reasoning is. Man, I would love to sit down and talk to Barry Morphew. Barry, if you happen to come across that with the phone videos, because I want to talk to you as a husband to understand your story and what you've been through. I want to understand if in fact if you're innocent, then sit down with dad with the phone and I'll become your biggest cheerleader. Um it's just so hard to understand why a husband and a brother of a woman couldn't come together. No matter what social media says, no matter what a YouTuber says, no matter what the cops are saying, that a brother of a woman missing and a husband of a woman missing, the fact that they weren't walking arm in arm leading that search crew, I don't know. First of all, I think Andy is very positive. Um, I talked to Andy twice today. He was bombarded with people, and both times he approached me. Um, One time that he approached me, shook my hand, and I started to cry. That's all there was to it. I was like, it is what it is. The second time he approached me, I think he was just in this mode of, oh my God, I've got 15 cameras following me. I need to be doing something. And so he was kind of like talking to me out of randomness. And I don't know if it was because the cameras were on, he was nervous. It was all starting to, like, we were kicking off the search. And so at that moment, had I wanted to just, you have to understand, had I wanted to be in the limelight all day, had I wanted to walk in front of the cameras there was a moment, an ego moment in my mind. I'm being honest with you guys. There was an ego moment in my mind that said, oh, Andy just walked straight up to you, shook your hand, and pulled you along and said, come on, let's go. And I was like, because he asked me something, he came with a random question as I got out of my Jeep. You got that kayak? You want to take that kayak down this creek? And I said, Andy, well, we'll see. Let's go walk that creek. And Andy grabbed me and said, no, come on, we're going to go search this area and look here. And there were cameras all over us. And at that moment, I made the decision, this is not where I want to be. I don't want to be, I don't want to be in front of these vultures. And half of them I knew. And so I decided to go over to, then at that moment I decided to head over to the Dead Horse Gulch search and watched the Morphew search head into the kind of the woods right there at the house and kind of towards and around. And I knew that would probably be the most whatever. I knew that was going to be the cameras were all there. So I knew that was going to be the search that they focused on. And I quickly realized when I got over to Dead Horse Gulch, oh, this is a psychic told us to search here? Well, the psychic doesn't know anything about Dead Horse Gulch. Dead Horse Gulch is literally one of the most populated wilderness areas in that area. And I'm not even pretending, I'm not even trying to I'm not exaggerating. You can watch the videos. There were people coming down bike trails and moving around all those trails that had no idea about Suzanne Morphew, had no clue, but there are people there all the time. If you were going to dump a body there, I think that body would be found within 24 hours of the amount of people that travel that area. So I'm not attacking please don't tell me I'm attacking the psychic. I'm just saying the logical place is not at the Dead Horse Gulch area. It is too trafficked. It is literally, if you were out there driving around at night to drop a body, everyone in Salida would be able to see your headlights on the side of the mountain. And I am not exaggerating. All right. So for anyone to take advice from a psychic and then understand the area and go, ooh, I don't, I don't know if it's the best use of resources that we have to put people in this area. Again, I'm not a search expert. I wasn't in charge of anything. All I found out was a psychic is the one who told us to search at the Dead Horse Gulch. And I was like, what the fuck? Okay, let's go search down by the river by the other house. And that's where I ended up going. I ended up going over to the job site. And there is some interesting stuff around the job site that I'm interested in now. And I am thinking of some ways to, I'm trying to figure out how we could search around the big rocks by the beach. All that beachfront area, they never touched it when they came and did the search before. That's not where they concentrated around. They concentrated up on the concrete slabs. But we found out later that those guys and the construction workers said they were working on this beach area. And there are some significant things that kind of stand out to me, but they only stand out to me after they were pointed out to me, okay? I want to make that very clear. I'm not going to call anyone out, but they were pointed out to me. And then all of a sudden I went back, literally turned around my car. When they sent me a picture and they said, we want to search this area. Can we cross the water? What are the water laws? They were asking me, what are the water laws here in Colorado? Can we get in the water? And I'm like, we can go up to water's edge, which means if our feet are in water, then we're in legal ground. As soon as our feet are on dry ground, we're on private property. And so trying to get to the area where we want to search is on private property. And so I think, though, over the next couple of days, I'm going to do what I do because I do have some connections with the people who own that property. And maybe if they would just allow us to search that little area and nowhere else, we're not trying to tear anything up. There's just a little bit of an area around the beach. And this is a plea from me that also came from the people that are involved in this search. And so maybe someone out there that's watching says, hey, we'll let Dad with the phone and one or two other people come on here and just look at this little area on that property. And otherwise, I'm going to get my fishing waders on. And I may be spending the night. Will y'all bail me out of the Chaffee County Jail if I get arrested for trespassing? That's all I need to know is can y'all post my bail? I've gone to jail before during cases and been right in the same lockup with Patrick Frazee. So don't put it past me to go over there and dig up a few rocks if all it means is a night in jail. I'll take the night in jail if somebody will post my bond. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, the water is so low. If the water was up, bam, we would have right to get over there and move whatever rocks we want to move. But because the water is low, property lines in Colorado will sometimes say to water's edge. So as soon as the property line kind of shifts with the water. And so, um, yeah. So there you go. I tried to find out if there was an organized dinner for all the volunteers that were definitely staying multiple nights. It was kind of fluctuated back and forth. So it's probably because I don't give my cell phone number out anymore to strangers. But a lot, maybe tomorrow night after the candle vigil or before the candle vigil, there'll be some sort of organized dinner. Tomorrow night is the candle vigil, candlelight vigil for Suzanne Morphew in Salida. I am going to do everything I can to be there. I will tell you, I have a huge day planned with my family, but I even told my wife, I was like, as soon as we're done, boats unloaded, I'm headed to Salida for this candle vigil. So I'm hoping to be out there. Hope you'll join me on Dad with the Phone Live if you can't make it. If you can make it, yeah, hit that thumbs up too. What about a warrant? What is the matter with law enforcement in Colorado? Can't they get a warrant? They already had a warrant to search this property, right? Here's the deal. Let me talk about why this case is run the way it's running, okay? And why it's not the same. And I talked about this maybe a little bit, maybe I didn't talk about this. Um, Law enforcement by now has got all the cell phone data back. They've got all the truck data back. They know at least where Barry was based on his cell phone. That doesn't mean he took his cell phone with him. Maybe his cell phone was sitting at the house. But no matter what, by now, they've got all that data. With that being said, if that data tells a story, like, okay, Barry went from point A to point B to point C, he went back to point B, then he went over to point D, and then F came into the equation, and then, oh yeah, these two others came into the equation, and they mixed here and there, and then they spread it separate ways. And if let's say they can do that for 5 days back, let's say they went and they looked at Barry's cell phone data from 5 days before to 5 days after, or 10 days or 20 days. Let's say they looked at the cell phone data from each individual day leading up to Barry, leading up to the announcement or the report of Suzanne Morphew missing. Hey, General, I'll let you out, but if you two start fighting, I'm going to beat y'all. Not really. I'm not going to beat him for real. Oh my gosh, I'm going to get in trouble for that. Here, just a sec. I'll let you out, big boy. I'll let you out, but if you start fighting with Sammy, it ain't going to be good. All right? Sammy, be nice. General, teach him what a bulldog's supposed to act like. Hey, you be good. Don't y'all unplug my computer either. Yeah, General knows he can go anywhere. All right. What's up, big boy? I'm sorry. I got new dogs running around the house. So, oh, see, Sammy, you just unplugged my computer. Come on, buddy. Come on. You can't be unplugging the computer. You got to be acting at least halfway like you're a good dog. All right. If you're gonna unplug the computer, you're gonna have to go in the kennel. Bigger question is, why do the homeowners have no trespassing signs up? Because they don't want people trespassing. The homeowners want to move on with their life. They don't want people walking by their house, driving. They don't want me driving by their house. They don't want me across the river. They don't want me looking at their property. They don't want that because nobody wants that. They didn't ask to be involved in this. They didn't ask to have their property cut up, and so they're trying to build their dream home. It's a nice house, by the way. Y'all seen that house, Um, so I'm looking at y'all's questions to make sure. I just saw Abby's question, so I answered it. But law enforcement wasn't prevalent today. And what I mean by that, it wasn't like law enforcement was at the volunteer site when we headed out. I didn't even see law enforcement over at the Devil's Head or the Dead Horse Gulch area. Law enforcement was pretty prevalent around the Morphew house, but I would probably say it was more on the aspects of, hey, you guys, you got to stay off private property. You got to stay off. Don't go bothering Barry. So law enforcement wasn't working in conjunction, at least openly, with the search crews. They weren't opposed to it. And there were a couple of times law enforcement stopped and talked to Andy, and law enforcement was up and down. And as we were walking down the road, they kind of like came through a couple of times to make sure we weren't blocking the road. So it didn't seem like law enforcement wasn't upset the search was going on, but they weren't necessarily actively involved. I do know that they did have CBI and search and rescue. Hey, Sammy, that's not how we act. Hey, come here, General. General. See, this is what happens. You got two bulldogs in the house. Come here. Hey, General. Come here. General, come here. Come here. You sit down. Sammy, you just chill. You just got to learn how to be chill, bro. You can't be bullying the bulldog around. Now, if you're going to go over there and cause trouble, there's nothing I can do for you. Law enforcement is watching all parties. Yeah, I think so. I would say that. I'm going to tell you, though, 4 months in, law enforcement hasn't made an arrest unless someone else comes forward. That's what I was going to get at, and I got distracted by these damn dogs. Law enforcement isn't, if they don't have a way to tell the story, if they don't have someone to come forward and put the dots with all the cell phone pings and all that crap together, then all it is a bunch of cell phone pings. If they don't have someone to tell the story, as like in the Patrick Frazee case, Patrick was about to go free. He was going to go free if Crystal didn't spill the beans. And then they matched up Crystal's story with the cell phone pings. You got hard physical evidence. You got a good eyewitness. Boom, you got something you can bring towards someone. I don't know if Barry Morphew is guilty, and I'm being honest. Like, I just look at this situation and go, dude, you're not acting like I would expect. You're not. Man, if my wife is missing and the news wants to talk to me, I am pleading with the world to come forward. I am pleading. But Barry has been very silent, very quiet. The conversations he has had, he has not want recorded. He didn't know they were being recorded, or he recorded the conversation and released it himself, the little video he did. And so with all of that, man, it points to somebody that's hiding something. It does. Now, forget all the other stuff. Forget any of the social media stuff. Forget any of the hotel stuff. Forget the disgruntled employees. Forget any of that, bro. Your wife has been missing for 4 months, and you haven't said very much. And when you have said something, it has been very suspicious. Hey, Knuckles, these knuckleheads. Good luck with that one. Oh, General. Got a bunch of bulldogs running around. Hey, nope, you're not allowed up there. General knows you're not. These dogs are distracting me. I ain't gonna lie. I like them. I like them. Oh, and Muff's over here going, "Can I play? Can I play? Let me play." All right. I've been freaking rambling for 30 minutes. Hit the comment itself, then it will come up. Tap the comment. He acts very, very guilty. He does. Click on comment. His actions make him look guilty. They obviously had problems, or else they'd have been celebrating Mother's Day. I mean, I was fishing with my wife on Mother's Day. I'm not gonna lie. And he goes hunting. How do you like or heart an individual comment? And I've been on Facebook for 15 years, Jackie says. Why would he not be a part of the search for his sweet bride? Makes no sense. This is true. Even if General or Sammy were missing, you would not act like Barry. Dude, my wife, this is the real true story. And if you watch the Woodland Park Underground, I already deleted the post. My wife calls me when I'm in Salida at the search for Suzanne Morphew, and she's like, Muffins jumped the fence. She don't have her collar on. We just bathed her. I don't know where she's at. What do? I get on my phone. I put a freaking post on my social media page. Hey, my dog's missing. Call my wife. Within 10 minutes, boom. My dog, somebody called. Hey, we got your dog. We saw him, picked up, saw the Facebook. That's from my dog. Bro, your wife, man. Your beautiful wife. Like you didn't even have an ugly wife. You lived in you lived in one of my favorite places. I love that area. What was so bad? Right? Now flip it. Flip it. Let me flip the script here. As guilty as Barry looks, as guilty as Barry is acting, as guilty as Barry seems, Suzanne Morphew could have been snatched by some third party that has nothing to do with any of Barry's this, Barry's that. It could have happened. The location is right. The amount of traffic, the amount of strange traffic that travels the Colorado Trail, the amount of strange people in that area. She could be sitting in a basement right now in the mountains of Colorado and still be alive. And that would be best case scenario. That would be, and she could come free at some point, right? It is not beyond the scope of the places you could go in that area. All right, I'm going to leave it with that. We'll be back over there tomorrow. I probably won't do any true crime updates tomorrow on Dad with the Phone until I get over to the candlelight vigil. I do believe Tyson Draper is en route, and he'll be there late tonight, and I assume he'll be at all the searches tomorrow, so maybe he'll be doing some lives or do at least an update or two. If something happens, if some truth is found, y'all better text me. People with my number, y'all better text me and tell me, and I'll be docking the boat and headed back over to Salida early. But don't be sending me no psychic shit. I don't want to hear about the psychics. I like psychics on my show. I like them to come on here and talk, but I am not going to run around in the desert in the most trafficked area of the banana belt on the sunny side, pointing right at the city and go, yep, that's where they put Suzanne Morphew. Oh, really? I could probably look at this search area with binoculars and tell that. Okay, so, man, we walked around some areas today. Y'all don't even know. Y'all don't even know. Sitting at y'all's house watching Dad with a Phone updates. People, there are some 70-year-old women walking up and down these mountains, and they ain't from here. There was women and men that couldn't handle the altitude. They had to go back to the hotel. They're from 300 feet elevation. They come up to 10,000 feet and want to go search for Suzanne Morphew. That's not how the world works. Your blood doesn't work that way. Your oxygen levels don't work that way. And muffins, really, I'm sitting right here. You and I can have this conversation in 2 seconds. I'm trying to close this show out. Thanks for watching Dad with a Phone. Um, much appreciated. Much appreciated. Y'all have fun. Oh, did y'all stick around for 2 seconds? Did y'all leave? Shout out to Naomi. I hope you feel better. I'm sorry you're not feeling good. She used her last good breath to yell at me this morning. All I'm gonna say is when I heard somebody scream "Dad" with the phone from around the over the parking lot, I was like, I didn't do it. That was the first thing that came to my head was I didn't do shit. I didn't post a picture yet. I didn't give no evidence out. What are you talking about? And all she wanted me to she had something else for me. But when she screamed my name, it sounded like I was in trouble. And I was like, I didn't do shit yet. Y'all cannot tell me it's my fault yet. I almost snuck across that river though, I'll tell you that. After I found out what I found out, I was like, I'm gonna sneak across that river with a fishing rod and we're gonna look. So anyway, shout out to Naomi. Thanks for coming in the live tonight. We'll see you guys. I don't ever do those, so that was a special.